having them assimilate. In the United States, we have a huge melting pot. We bring in people from all different backgrounds. We have a better rate of assimilation, even though people can maintain their language, their culture, their religion. You don't see that as much in France. And what you do see are pockets of these expat communities, including Tunisians, including Moroccans, including people from all different backgrounds. And again, this is not to stop and say, well, you can't let in people from this country or this country, that country. This is a problem as a whole. And this individual may have been in France for a generation or two, or he might be a new refugee. The problem remains that they do have access and they are embedded within society.
Well, that's exactly it, Lisa. They're embedded within society in every country. We talk about you mentioned the United States. Everybody is stepping up security. Apparently, they're saying now, hindsight's 2020, that there wasn't enough security at this Bastille Day event. Does the U.S. need to step up its security measures in some way?
Absolutely. I think this is a wake-up call for everyone, because it's a risk to anybody who steps outside their home for any reason, right? And as we've seen, sometimes it is symbolic, and we do beef up our security on days like July 4th weekend, or if it's Memorial Day weekend, days that are more symbolic. We saw the Boston Marathon bombing. It was a random pretty much day on April 15th, 9/11. Now it's a symbolic day for us, but at the time it wasn't so much. So I think that it becomes, imperative to look at any sort of threat and not just be reactionary, meaning now we'll look at, well, we have to, kick off our shoes at the airport because we had 9/11, or look at, outdoor festivities or anywhere where there's fireworks and say, well, that's where it's going to come next. It could be anywhere. And I think that that's the message that these terrorists are really sending home right now, is to say that they can cause these types of attacks anywhere.
And Lisa, of course, as you mentioned, soft targets that we're seeing these attacks happening at. I should mention, though, that an FBI source has told me that we do our security different here in the United States in terms of the bubbles, the layers, and the levels of security. I know from my own experience working in the intelligence community that you would have sort of surveillance bubbles, and then bubbles outside of those bubbles, rings of protection. We don't know much at this point about what sorts of security was in place, other than the visible security on this particular evening in France. What we do know is that we're seeing people radicalize on the internet right now, and that is such a difficult place to try to tamp down on. What do you think we need to be doing right now to try to prevent people who may be just crazy from actually attaching themselves to some sort of an ideology that's being spread on the internet, Lisa?
Yeah, it's a very difficult topic, because I think that the debate for a very long time in the intelligence community, as you well know, is whether we should take them off or use them, or use the information that we have on these websites and on these platforms for intel. And I think that the problem has been, as we've seen in hindsight of many of these types of attacks, when we see the perpetrator, like in the Orlando attack, is that he did come under the radar, but we didn't do anything with that intel, we didn't do anything with that information, or we followed the individual and we didn't find anything that was incriminating. Now, again, this problem in this country is becoming as a pattern, in that we don't have a problem collecting that intel, we have a problem in how we assess it, or how far we can go with kind of what information we can ascertain. Now, with regards to Facebook and Twitter and all these other platforms, I think we'd be definitely doing a better job as to following these individuals and not looking at it as something of a joke. The only problem that we find is that there's so much out there, and for every account that these platforms shut down, 10 more brought up in their place, and it becomes extremely difficult for these platforms to shut down completely. But there is more that we can be doing, and you know what? We can't be giving up on this.
All right, we can't give up on this. I mean, I know that they're embedded within our countries, all the countries, but you're right, the fight has to keep on fighting, and we get one disaster after another like this. It's so sad. Thank you, Lisa Daftari, editor-in-chief of the Foreign Desk and counter